Hello friends. Well, here we are, the final bump and run of the 2016 season, and I know what you're thinking. Sam, what is that garbage on your upper lip? But I can explain. I am donning this stash, yes, partially in solidarity with Captain Chelsea Sullenberger, but also as a visual representation of how the 2016 Minnesota Vikings season has aged me. I don't look older. To catch a predator with that. Anyway, let's put a bow on things, shall we? There are no playoffs to discuss in Minnesota, so instead, I'll be handing out some grades for the 2016 season. We'll be grading every position group because. Let's start with quarterback. The Vikings quarterbacks in 2016 get an A. Let's be honest, when the Bradford trade happened, did you really think he'd end up playing as well as he did? Over 3,800 yards, 20 touchdowns, 5 picks, and the NFL record in completion percentage. And the biggest knock on him coming into the year, the fact that he's injury prone? Yeah, didn't miss any time despite playing behind the worst line in NFL history. Sam got smacked on the reg and kept getting back up. Now, I hear a lot of people pissing and moaning about the depth of his targets. Oh, the record doesn't matter because they were dinking and dunking all year. Guys, remember earlier in the year, the Norv days, how we were all complaining about the long developing routes and the fact that Sam kept getting sacked because he didn't have any time? And all we wanted was some quick drops and slants and dump offs so they could just get the ball in the hands of the playmakers? And then they started doing exactly that, and now we're complaining. I mean, my God, just respect the performance. Also, Sean Hill played pretty well in that one game. So, quarterbacks, A. Next, running backs, C. They were average. The failure to convert short yardage situations does fall on the backs too. We can't just blame everything completely on the hams up front. Asiata was fine. McKinnon, I don't know. He had some good runs, but I'm gonna have to see him break a few more tackles before I buy into the hype about his shiftiness. They were fine. You might be thinking they deserve a B-, but they were average. And C, by its very definition, is average. There will be no grade inflation here. Tight ends? B. Kyle Rudolph had one of the better statistical seasons in Vikings history, but he also dropped that touchdown in the Dallas game. Wide receivers? B+. Diggs was hurt again, but we did get a breakout year from Adam Thielen, who is actually really good, and kind of a career resurgence from Cordarrelle Patterson. Good unit overall. And I'm not factoring Treadwell in because he didn't play. We're not grading the draft picks here. Offensive line. Honestly, let's give them a C, and hear me out here. They had a ton of injuries, and they couldn't be expected to perform a whole lot better with all the different starting combinations. I'm kidding, F. To the defense, the D-line, A-. One of the best units on the team. Danielle Hunter, star in the making. Brian Robinson had a great season. Linval is Linval. Everson Griffin. I mean, they're loaded up front. One reason it's not a full-on A is because they did often weirdly give up big plays in the run game. And the pass rush kind of evaporated at times during the second half of the season. There's too much talent up front for them not to be dominating. But they were still 5th in the league in sacks, so yeah, A-. Linebackers, B-. To be clear, if we were just talking about Kendricks and Greenway, this grade would be higher. Yes, I know Greenway's old, I don't care, I love him. What's really bringing this grade down is Anthony Barr. Now, I don't know what happened to him this year, but his first 3 years in the league have kind of been like Adam Sandler movies. First couple were really good. After that, ugh. Here's hoping in 2017 he's a little more Happy Gilmore and a little less Mr. Deeds. Defensive backs, A. Rhodes finally developed into the shutdown corner we've been waiting for. Newman was super good at age 50. Harrison Smith, not his best year, but still Harrison Smith. Andrew Sendejo was better. Listen, this unit was not the problem. I don't care if they had to throw gangly-ass Jaron Kearse out there a few times. This unit still deserves an A. Finally, special teams. Yes, I'm lumping them all together because I'm lazy. So, B-. Here's why. We're taking the whole season into consideration, which includes Blair Walsh, and that had F+ written all over it. But they signed Kai Forbath, things got a lot better, and aside from a few games, Jeff Locke was pretty darn good too. I liked Cordarrelle as a gunner, and Marcus Sherrills is super good, but not having him out there because of injury might have cost the team 2 games. Definitely cost him 1. A mixed bag all around, but I'm expecting better things in 2017. So, wrapping it up, I only gave 2 grades of a C or lower, which seems kind of funny coming out of this gross and super disappointing 8-8 season. But that's the thing about this team. Most of the units, except for one, are actually really talented and play pretty well in spots. But for some reason, that didn't translate into team success in 2016. Maybe the offensive line just derailed the whole thing, I don't know. But maybe that's just how sports work sometimes. At the very least, the season was interesting. Not always good, but always entertaining. And we watch sports to be entertained. So for that reason, I'm glad I was along for the ride. But if we take this same ride again next year, I will jump off the ride and break both of my legs. Until then, folks, my stash and I bid you adieu. I hope we can all enjoy rooting for the Packers to lose in the playoffs together. One last time in the maiden season of Bump and Run, go Vikes.